All right, hello. Today I'm going to be going through a couple examples for distance and midpoint formulas. Now, this is just a very small extension on something that you have already done. The distance or the distance between 2 points on the graph are really just the Pythagorean theorem. Think about it. We have this point here. We have this point here. Our question is, how far apart are they? What's the distance between them? Well, what we need to do is find out the horizontal distance between them. And so in this case, this is a horizontal distance of 3. 1, 2, 3. And then what's the vertical distance between them? In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we use the Pythagorean theorem to find out the distance between them. So in this case, we have a side length of 3, 7. We're finding the hypotenuse between the 2 points. So 3 squared plus 7 squared is equal to our longest side squared. So 9 plus 49 is equal to c squared. So we'll take 58, the square root of 58, and that'll give us a side length of 7.62, but we're going to be rounding to the nearest tenth today. Everything's rounded to the nearest tenth today, so we'll leave it at 7.6. That's the distance between those 2 points. So for your notes, you could say just count the side lengths of the legs of the triangle. So we have 2 points. What is the side length of each leg? And that'll tell us the ultimate distance between them if we solve for the hypotenuse, or longest side, of a right triangle. Now the question might come up, what do you do if it's only points? If it's just points, I don't have a graph, I can't count the distance. Well, you can still use those points to identify horizontal distance and vertical distance. And let me kind of show you that, but I want you to kind of figure it out on your own. Here's the next example for you. Oh, wait a minute. I guess I am going to show you, but you're going to kind of figure it out with just the points. In this case, I've got this line, this diagonal line. I could just count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the vertical distance, but I also have the end points. I have x, I have y, and I could have seen there is a vertical distance of 5 because of those points. From 0 down to -5, well, that's a horizontal distance of 5. Likewise, I can look at a vertical distance of 5. I think I said horizontal distance a few times. That's a vertical distance of 5. Changing in y values gives you your vertical. Well, now we're going to look at our horizontal. And the horizontal is identified from the x values. To go from -2 up until +3, wait a minute, that's also a change of 5. And I could count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But just using the points to go from -2 to 3, that's a change of 5. So we have a horizontal distance of 5. Using the Pythagorean theorem, and again, I could have just found these just from the points. I'll have 5 squared plus 5 squared equals the longest side squared, or the distance squared. So 25 plus 25 is equal to the last side squared. So 50 is equal to c squared. Well, that's not the length of the side. We have to take the square root of 50 because we're left with c squared. So the longest side is the square root of 50, which we might be able to simplify. We're going to be working in decimals today. We could maybe change that into 5 root, what would it be, 2? Yeah, 5 root 2. However, for the Google form, I'm going to have you actually do the square root of 50, or whatever your answer is. In this case, 7.1. It would be 7.07, but we're going to round to the nearest tenth today. So 7.1 is the distance between those 2 points. This length, right here that I'm drawing in red, that is a length of 7.1 units. And that's what we're finding with distance. So you're going to go through using these 2 points. You're going to find out how does it change vertically, how does it change horizontally, and you'll be able to find the distance between those 2 points. Likewise, you'll be able to find the midpoint between 2 points. And I'm going to briefly explain that. Yesterday you had an IXL skill that should have kind of given you an intro to this idea. If we're just looking at one coordinate, let's just say the x coordinate. The IXL skill yesterday said, well, if x is at -1 and x is at +5, what's the middle of that? Where is the middle of -1 to 5. Well, you might say, okay, well, -1 to 5, that's a distance of 6. And so then we divide that by 2, we have a distance of 3. So what is 3 away from -1? Well, we have 0, +1, we have 2. And then that is also 3 away from 5. So 2, that's our middle. There's an easier way, though. We can add these two values together. 5 plus -1 gives us 4. Divide that by 2, and we found that same value of 2. So our middle value for x is 2. Likewise, for y, we could find the middle of y. Add 1, add -5. -5 plus 1 is going to give us -4. So -4 divided by 2 gives us -2. So the middle point of these 2 points is 2, -2. Now, if you want to think about that on a graph, it actually makes a lot of sense. We're finding the middle of some vertical distance, right? Or +1 up to 5 would be our vertical distance. Where's the middle of that? Then we're finding the middle of some horizontal distance. And I know I kind of drew this backwards, but from -1 up till -5, what's the middle of that? And really, we're finding the middle point of this right here, this line. What's the middle of that line? Well, it's the middle of those two legs, right? So we're kind of working with triangles here and identifying some midpoint in the center of the hypotenuse. So you're going to go through and you're going to be able to find out the middle of these points. Remember, just add the x values together. Add x values, divide by 2. Add the y values, divide by 2. That gives you your middle point. So there's a couple questions on that as well. Now, there are some people who are very, very formula-based. They really like to see formulas and just use the formula. However, you never have to memorize these formulas if you really know what's going on. If you understand Pythagorean theorem, this is just the Pythagorean theorem. And if you really understand how to find the middle of a line, this is just finding the middle of two lines. Let me show you the Pythagorean theorem here. x2 minus x1. That's the two x values of your triangle. That's just the distance of the side of a triangle. So maybe it's something like a, the distance between those 2 points. And then y2 minus y1, that's like the vertical of your triangle. I'll call it b. And so it's like y2 minus y1, the distance between those 2 points that are vertical. And then we just use that, squaring those values, adding them together, and then taking the square root to find the longest side, c. Now here it's called d because it's the distance. But it's really just a squared plus c squared equals d squared, but we've taken the square root of that. So d is equal to the square root of a squared plus b squared, or I wrote this backward, b squared. It would be that distance. So the distance formula is really just Pythagorean theorem, finding out that diagonal. In the midpoint formula, we're just taking the two x values, adding them together, dividing by 2. Taking the two y values, adding them together, dividing by 2, and that will give you your new midpoint, x comma y. Now today, there's a Google form for you to put in your answers to the Pear Deck questions. It'll immediately grade it. It'll let you know if you are correct. There's also a quizzes, a very short 8-question quizzes on these two things, and I just want to see how you do in that quizzes. See if you can get 100% there, and then we'll go from there. Make sure you are participating in that IXL challenge. There will be a video update today. I'll make a quick video showing the standings of class periods and how many questions they've solved per person, and we'll see the standings there. As of yesterday, in the Google Meet, 7th period was significantly ahead. They had quite a few questions answered. They were significantly ahead of any other class period, so that's pretty awesome. 7th period. However, tune in today for a video. Maybe it's already posted. Maybe it'll be posted in a little bit for the current standings as of probably 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning. That'll be the current standings. So anyway, take care. Have a great day. Have a great little long weekend here. We got Friday off, so I will talk to you later.